Welcome to the Quantum Health Connection podcast. My name is Heather Nielsen. I am here with my incredible co-host, Vanessa Baldwin. And today we're going to do a unique solo cast, or I guess duo cast. And this one is going to be talking all about things that we agree or disagree with the idea or with each other. So we're going to make this fun. We're going to make it engaging. We're going to talk all about our current evolution of our current state of our views about health, our paradigm about health. So this is going to be wonderful, huh, Vanessa?
Yeah, I'm excited to do this. It's just fun to just have a little chit chat with you, Heather. I love my Tuesday afternoons to have chit chats with Heather and do what's like kind of like a rapid fire agree, disagree. And, I think it's so important to number one, as just people being in the health field, to just be so open to evolve and shift and change and grow, right? And also to agree and disagree with people. And also that those things can change over time. Like, I think that's so important to have these like healthy discussions, and they're just so valued. And I think it's important for listeners to get to know us. And I might have say something that I feel is true today, but you might ask me 2 years from now, and be like, actually, I've changed my mind on that. And that's normal and healthy. I mean, one thing I remember is my mom would always be like, it's so hard to keep up with health stuff because things are always changing. And it's true, it is, because we learn more information, we grow, we evolve, we change our viewpoints, and really what we believe is right or wrong or true or disagree with, right, is all based on our own knowledge and our own perceived reality that we're living in, right? So it does shift and change. And I think that that's important. There are lots of things. We did an episode about how much we've changed, how much we used to think things that we used to believe that are not true anymore, right? Because it's just part of what, you think when you're learning and you're growing as a person. And I think it's really important to recognize that.
I think it's good too to challenge ourselves because the ability to change our minds to me is it's not a bad thing. It's a very empowering thing. It's a sign of growth. It's also a sign of security in oneself and trusting and having faith because the thing is that from a scientific mechanistic point of view, it's like we're trying to get to the truth. And this is the research shows, and I appreciate that. It's not that I don't think that's valuable. It's absolutely is valuable. And the real truth of the matter for me, Vanessa, is that if we always are like looking outside of ourselves for the right thing or the thing that's the truest thing or whatever it is, I think that does ourselves a disservice because it's like we get attached to this being the right thing, and that may or may not be true for every single person, and that may not be true in general. And so I think the good thing about what we're doing today is it challenges us
Mm,
to always be tuning into what is it our bodies actually need, not what the
mhm.
research says or what anybody else is doing, but how are we paying attention to our own experience and how our body is, and heart and soul and all the things are responding to what it is that we're using to help ourselves heal and to be our most vital selves every day.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is to tune into yourself, right? And to know what's working for you, not what a practitioner says or what somebody on the internet says or Instagram reel comes and says to do. Like, it's like, does this work for you? Is this supportive to you? And the only person who can answer that question is you. Because we are also unique and individualized. And a lot of times, I think the interesting part about it is like we can say agree or disagree, right, with something, right? But also, a lot of times the answer is it depends. And it's not black and white. Like it's not like always this or always that. There's shades of gray, which I think is a huge area of growth that I've noticed in my own life where I used to really have a lot of black and white thinking. And I think there's a lot of dysregulation there, but I used to think it's always this or it's always that. And most of the time a lot of times there's a middle answer. It's a gray answer. And that can be annoying in the health space because people just want to be told what to do. And I'm like, well, it could be this or it could be that. And that can be kind of annoying, I think, for people, but that's the truth of it because it depends on how your body responds to something. And it depends on the situation, and that can shift and change throughout time, right? It's not always like just this simple yes or no answer, right? Or this black and white answer.
Yeah, and I think that we want to validate for the people who are really struggling with their health and
Yeah.
they really feel pain or whatever, like mental and emotional struggle, that's totally understandable. That because I did that for years. It's like, which diet is the best? Which
Hmm.
supplement should I be taking? Let me find the
Yep.
best practitioner. And time and time again, things would work maybe in certain ways, but my level of health did not increase the way that I wanted it to.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for us to acknowledge, Vanessa, that if you're really struggling, it's also a spiritual journey. It's about trusting that your body is capable, that your body isn't doing anything to sabotage you or undermining you. It's not anybody's fault. It's not your fault. Like, this is really the spiritual aspect of this, which I think is severely under recognized and under supported for clients, and also therapists are maybe reluctant to talk about these things because, well, that's out of my scope, or, well, I'm only trained in this. It's like, well, actually you're attending to the whole being. So I don't know if we have that on the agenda for today, but I think we should include that in there somewhere, because I think it behooves each clinician to think about it that way. How do they see their clients holistically, and what is in the client's best interest as far as attending to their mental, emotional, and spiritual state?
I love that because it is such a spiritual journey, healing. It truly is. And for me, that is really where the ticket is. And it's a lot of choosing faith over fear and trusting in more than just me because you can't control everything, and just being like trusting that everything is going to be okay, and just trusting that your body is on your side, befriending your body, loving yourself, forgiving yourself. I mean, all of this is like so important. And it's just showing up as your authentic self. I mean, that is so huge. And I feel like the more I've been on my healing journey, the more I've shown up as my authentic self and become more of myself. And I think that's where the real true healing is. Like, that's where the magic is. And we are always looking for, and of course, I did the same thing. We're always looking for that magic protocol, that magic diet, that magic this, that magic blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter what it is. There is no magic thing. It's really, the journey is really just kind of removing those layers of suppression and just really finding yourself again and loving yourself again and trusting yourself again, trusting your intuition, trusting your own judgment thoughts, and then just trusting that there's more to life than just yourself, I think is also really big, and that there are other, I don't, you can think of it as faith, you can think of it as universe, whatever you want to think of it as, in God, whatever, but there's something else that's on your side that's also guiding you, and that you are divinely guided, and that everything is going to work out, and just have that faith and trust in that, I think is really, really huge. I was having this conversation with my son yesterday a little bit about like, I'm like, I think a lot of people would feel a lot better in the world if they would just look at their lives from, I can't control it. You know what I mean? Like, there are things I can't control, but I do have faith and trust that it's going to be okay, right? And I also can step back and look at my life from a place of what do I have instead of what I don't have. Like, stop saying like, I want this, 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 because we all have wants and needs, and that's fine, that's normal. And especially if you're in a health space, I get it. You want a lot of things to be better in your life, but stop and say, well, wait, I got this going on, and I got this going on, and I have this, and I have that. So I think looking at our life from a state of abundance and what we do have, and having gratitude for what we do have, is also a huge, major spiritual step in healing. And being like, yeah, wait, but I want this, and I want this to be better. Because how many times do you have a client who comes to you and they're like, oh, instead of noticing the things that are better, they're like, I got this, and this to still work on, right? Because we're coming from that state of lack, and we're paying attunement or attention to the things that are still bugging us and the things that we want to get better. But we need to step back and say, oh, wait, look, this has shifted, or wait a minute, I want this, but look what I do have, right? I just think that's a really important piece to bring in. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll talk more about this. And just a little disclaimer is that nothing that Vanessa and I are going to share is to be construed as medical advice. It's just our opinions, our personal experience, and where we're at now. It's a reflection of where we've been and where we are at now. So
yeah.
please make sure that you consult your own practitioner. You can book a session with one of us if you need further support and guidance in homeopathy, circadian biology, tissue salts, flower essences, and all the things. So we're
Yeah.
here to support you. So see what you think about this. And if we end up pushing your buttons, that's an invitation for you to take a deeper look at your beliefs and your thoughts around whatever that particular issue is and what that is showing up inside of you for you to look at.
Yeah. All right, let's get going with the first one. Are you ready for the first one,
Yep,
Heather?
let's
The
go.
first rapid fire statement. And you could agree, disagree, or have a, it depends moment. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. What do you think?
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree because I think it's good to have something in the morning because it's a Zeitgeber and it's breaking your
Mhm.
fast that you fasted all night, and that it tells your body that it's time to get going and let's get the processes going, and we're not resting and digesting or resting and repairing anymore. We're going to start on the daytime circadian activities. So I think also that it's important for menstruating women, and even for me as a menopausal woman, to have that safety signal, because food is also a safety signal. Like there's food available, there's abundance. Like we're not trying to live in scarcity mode here and stress ourselves
Mhm.
out, and then the cortisol has to go higher because we're not getting any decent carbs in to have nourishment in the morning. So I have always done better just personally with having breakfast. And honestly, I'm not going to get caught up so much nowadays with the macronutrient ratios because I'm just, unlike you, Vanessa's really diligent and very good at tracking things. Like I have never really been successful in that. Honestly, I just hate it. So I just make sure that it's something nourishing, and then I try to sense. I honestly, Vanessa, I try to intuit. Do I want some protein? Do I need more carbs? Like but
Mm.
really for me, the guiding principle is just having enough. I'm not like a huge breakfast person. Like I just don't have that much fire to digest a huge breakfast meal in early in the morning. So
Mm. I concur, and I love that all, and I agree on everything you just said, and I love that you're using your own intuition with that. And I think having hunger for breakfast is a sign of a good metabolism, number one. Like, so you should, I don't want to say the word should because I don't like that word, but a healthy metabolism will have a hunger signal in the morning, and that the more you connect with light, the stronger that will become. And I've noticed that in myself too, because I can train my body to do everything with willpower. Like I'm really good at that. Like willpower, determination, not a problem over here for this girl.
but then you're
But
just overriding
yes, I can
what it
override
wants
it.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I could override it because there were many years in my life where I thought this was a healthy practice, and this was when I was very heavy. I would try to like eat really light all day long. I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna have the two hard-boiled eggs for breakfast, and then bring a banana for a snack, and have a yogurt for lunch, and then I'd come home and binge after working all day because I was
You're
starving.
starving. Yeah.
Right. And research actually shows when you put your calories more in the morning versus in the evening that you actually have a better weight outcomes, right? So you get that metabolism going, get that fire going. So I do think breakfast is the most important meal and you shouldn't skip it. And I do think it like everything you said, I completely agree with. So I'm a big proponent of breakfast. I love breakfast. I can't wait for breakfast. I'm like, as soon as I wake up, I'm like, ooh, what are you having for breakfast today? Like I love it. Like I look forward to it. And yeah, and I like try to really, really get everything going in the morning. So I
I
enjoy
like
it.
how you have that joy around your food is extraordinary, let's be honest. Like you just
Oh,
have the most
thanks.
amazing food. You're such a great cook. You have
Oh,
great
me too.
ingredients. Like you have it going on, lady. So but I like how you talk about joy because if I could, I mean, unfortunately, as a Natmer, like I just don't do well with wheat, and it's so annoying to me. Like if I could eat whatever I wanted for breakfast, I'm gonna just out myself. Like it'd be some sort of croissant and then a latte, but that is like not a good thing for me to eat. But that's the most joy. I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Not just because it's sort of like, oh, this is so bougie, but it tastes good to me. So I don't do that, but I would if I could, because it's enjoyable. And then eat outside, it just is
Yeah.
so glorious. But
I
maybe in my
love
next lifetime I'll do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you will, and maybe this time lifetime it will change. You never
We'll
know.
see.
But
Yeah, we'll see.
I love eating outside, and you're gonna laugh. I just had to say this. Like when we went to St. Lucia, we would go to we went we had the breakfast buffets, and I'd come back with like this humongous plate, and my mom's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I just walked like 6 miles and did a workout. I'm starving. Like I'm like ready to go here." Like, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm
Does your
like.
mom eat just like a little bit or what?
She is like a normal person. It wasn't an extravagant amount. Like I will not lie. Like I love food. Like I am not the kind of person who's like eats like a bird. I can train myself to eat like a bird on purpose, but I find my normal state is like I like to eat. Like and I love food, and that's not a healthy state to be in. So yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, it's
So the
funny.
next one, Vanessa, for you is that everyone should supplement with vitamin D. Agree or disagree?
Okay, so I definitely don't agree that everyone should supplement with vitamin D, but I do take a discernment here on situational places where most majority of people I would not recommend vitamin D. It's a hormone, right? We want to get out in sunlight. We don't want to be you can't replace sunlight with a pill, like ever. That's just not even close to possible. And of course, when you're supplementing, you're misplacing magnesium, there's, misplacing calcium, there's all kinds of other minerals that get dysregulated. It is a hormone, so it affects hormones. But context matters. And if somebody has a vitamin D of like 10 and they're chronically ill and they can't get outside or there's some other things going on, well, then maybe we need to think about supporting them at a low level for a short period of time while we're helping them build the habits of getting them outside. So certainly not everybody should should supplement vitamin D. And I would say in most cases, like 99.9, I would not recommend it unless there was like a severe outlier case where it was needed because of certain situational circumstances, right? So, yeah, not a huge fan of vitamin D supplementation on the regular basis, but yeah, there's certainly that outlier that might need some support if they just are really sick and they can't get outside and their vitamin D is like a 5, you know?
Yeah, I
So,
concur completely
yeah,
on every point that you just stated. And also, of course, we would both recommend diet first, like dietary changes first, in conjunction with
light.
working up very carefully. Because if
Mm,
somebody's not used to being outside or they're really debilitated, they may not be able to process the sunlight. It's too
yeah,
strong for them. So working on
yeah.
getting more morning light and then slowly working up to a little bit of UVA and then a little bit of UVB, that's ideal. And you know what, Vanessa, I really don't think that we need to be out for hours. I really
Mm,
don't think so. Our body is so brilliant. And I think if you can get, 5 or 10 minutes a day, which most people, unless they're super pale or super unhealthy, could tolerate that before any scary stuff happens with burning and whatnot, if you're really white, so that your body's going to go, oh my God, sun. And hopefully it's going to be able to do that. And the other reason that I wouldn't recommend D unless absolutely necessary is that it's just one form of vitamin D. When our body has all these different forms of vitamin D metabolites, and you're bypassing the natural way of making it with the skin, right, and the cholesterol and all the things, and it's just never the same, like never the same. So it's
mm.
never a good idea to use a hormone supplement when you can do all these other things first. So
100%, totally agree. And actually, the metabolites we get from sunlight are the ones that are cancer preventative, not the ones that we get from a pill.
there you
And
go.
that's like you said, it's just D3, where there's all these other different metabolites. So, yeah, always sunlight over a pill every single time, unless there's an extreme circumstance. And I love the way you outlined about getting out slowly. So, that's beautiful. All right. I think it's your turn next. Detoxes are necessary and good for health.
I disagree. So, I think I disagree with the also the qualifier that it can depend. So here's why I disagree. And maybe people will get upset about this, but because nowadays our environment is so different from in the past. But I think of people who are longevous and they live their whole lives with however they ate, and they never did a detox. So there's
Mhm.
that. Um, I think that it can be stressful to do detoxes. I think that people see or hear something, oh, I should do this or I should do that. And they have no idea whether or not their body's actually able to do the work to do that. So I think you really have to be careful with them. I think the first detox would be get your sleep right so that your body can actually detox itself at night properly and then see where you need to go from there. Right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if your pathways are sluggish and your liver's not working and you're constipated, then there's definitely a problem and you're not going to be detoxing well. So you got to start with a graduated approach of getting your sleep right, which means you're getting your daytime light right, blocking junk light and then exposure at night, right, to artificial light, getting morning light. Start it with that first. Then as
Mhm.
your sleep improves, your detox pathways should also improve. If you're not noticing improvements, then you can take it to the next level. So I think it's really prudent of people to be cautious with this and not just like jump into the latest thing that they've heard about online.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that one. I feel like they can cause more harm than good, especially when people are not prepared for them and they think, oh, I'm just going to do this detox. And it's like, whoa, we've actually made the system in a lot more stress state than we needed to because the body's not prepared. There's not enough energy over inflammation. They don't have enough redox capacity, basically. They're overburdened with toxins and they are low voltage. And then all of a sudden they're pushing these things out and they're like all of a sudden so symptomatic and so much sicker. And that is the danger of doing these detoxes. Now, of course, our bodies are made to naturally detox. I think that's their job. Like when we're sleeping, we're mentally naturally detox. We have a liver. Of course, there are circumstances where we do need to support these pathways, right? In certain situations. But like Heather said, getting all of your quantum circadian biology on point is going to help you detox better. And I don't think people take that like to face value. When you say, get your sleep right, get your light right, you will actually detox better. Get your circadian biology on point, you will actually detox better. So I think that's a much better place to start. And if you're already doing those things, then consider other supports. But how much are you grounding? How about we detox from the phone or from the non-native MS by just using them less? Like that's the good detox in my opinion, right? Like honestly, like we detox from the blue light by not being surrounded by it all the time. Like I think those are the better ways. Or we detox from the seed oils by not eating them all the time. Like not
Absolutely.
necessarily doing something, but just removing the things that are interfering with our biology, like the way that it quantumly communicates and actually just works efficiently.
Yeah,
So
so
I would
detoxing from stress.
detoxing from stress, right? Lay in the sun and take a nap or use less chemical products, right? That are disrupting your cellular pathways. Like all of these other things that we can remove before we start adding in harsh detoxes, we can remove things that are interferencing, I think is a better place to start too.
And using things like movement. So I like
Yeah.
rebounding. So you can
Yeah.
use rebounding, but you can also do those kinds of movements without having to get a rebounder, although I
Hmm.
highly recommend at least buying a used one. So there's all these ways that are more friendly to your body, starting
Yeah.
with the most important with sleep and so forth and light, and then working your way towards it. Now, if you've done all the things like movement, sleep is on point, and your diet is good, you're not stressed out, all, you've dialed in a lot of that stuff as reasonably as possible. Okay, then maybe take it to the next level, right? Okay,
Yeah.
now let's look at what's happening here. And
Hmm.
don't forget that emotions, to me, can be the biggest, create the biggest wrinkle in your detox situation after like sunlight and circadian rhythm. So
Totally.
if you're like in your body so tense from just whatever it is, you're angry a lot, or you're so stressed out a lot, and you never even can just completely go into a parasympathetic sympathetic state, your body's not going to be able to do its detox pathways very easily.
No, absolutely. The emotions. This is why, see a homeopath. Organ support is also really helpful. Like a good liver support is like can be really helpful, to people. Like I've seen that make such a big difference in people's ability to detoxify and just move things along. So there's so many other things, flower essences, see someone to support you along those lines.
Yep. All right. So the next one, Vanessa, is that coffee is healthy.
Okay. Well, see, this is a nuanced one, right? So I think there's a lot of things around coffee that we could chat about. So, A, if you get up in the morning and you're pounding a cup of coffee before anything else, that can be super stressful, jolt your cortisol, make you get more hyper and active and just like, not be great for you. My brother and I were just having this conversation about coffee because he's like, he loves coffee and he loves ice baths. And I'm like, he loves to run on stress. And he's like, now I have all this energy from the coffee that I have. I'm going to go run the hills and to like release the energy and then I'm going to crash. I'm like, well, I don't know. Is that really healthy? You know?
What do you mean crash? Like he takes a nap or he's low
He's going to be
energy?
tired. He's going to go run the hills because he's got all this pent up energy. So he's going to go run the hills in this beach that we have and he's going to go up and down them. And because he jolted his cortisol from ice bath and then coffee, and now he's got all this pent up energy and he wants to go release it. So he's running the hills. And then I was talking to him and he was like, blah, 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 like a mile a minute. That's just before the podcast. So it's just funny you bring it up. But okay, so then that's not the best use of coffee, right? To be using it as like quick form energy, right? But there are benefits to coffee as well. So I think if you want coffee, if you are a coffee drinker, okay, get up, see the sunrise, give your body that safety signal, eat some breakfast, and then have your cup of coffee. So it's not going to have this like jolting nervous system dysregulation and cortisol jolting way. Um, there are benefits to coffee. Like it is good for the liver and it does help the liver detoxify. And of course, quality coffee matters. You don't want to be buying like a mold one. You want to be getting organic and make sure it's mold free and all these things. So that makes a big difference on what the type of coffee you're drinking. I, Coffee, I think earlier in the day is could be beneficial to some people, later in the evening, of course, if it keeps you up or if it makes you feel jittery or, does any of these things, not so great then. So, it's kind of a nuanced conversation because it depends on how coffee makes you feel. Because if coffee makes you feel jittery and gives you these cortisols and then you cortisol highs and then your adrenaline and cortisol surging and then you're having crashes, well, then the coffee might not be right for you at this time in your health journey, right? So it really depends on how do you feel after you drink coffee of whether or not it's healthy for you. But I do think there are benefits to drinking coffee as well. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, the first time I had coffee, Vanessa, was because I was such a good student. I skipped class in eighth grade, and I went down to the diner with several other students, and I had coffee. And my goodness, I felt so wretched. I was sweating, my back hurt. I mean, clearly, oh yeah, I was like, I'll never drink that stuff again. Clearly, I had either really some strong adrenal insufficiency back
Yeah.
then, and
Yeah.
that's when I was pretty young, but I just had that adverse reaction, and it really left a bitter taste in my mouth, pun intended. So I just thought, oh, who would drink this stuff? This made me feel miserable. And that actually was the case for me for many, many years. Interestingly, now if I eat first, and I mind you, have to eat first or have it with some fat. So, honestly, I would get a latte mainly for the cream and the milk and all and breve. But, coffee's just sort of a vehicle for the cream and the milk. But anywho, so I can tolerate it better now. That's a good
Yeah.
sign.
Well,
But,
drinking it black versus drinking it with cream and milk is going to have a very big difference on your
mm-hmm,
system as well. So if
yep,
you struggle with coffee and instead of drinking it black, drink it with cream, or honey or something like that. So it's not as,
yeah.
jolting to the system.
Yeah, and just a little preview for everybody. We're going to be having a really interesting guest. He's super cool, super amazing person, Jason Christoph. And some of you might have heard of him. He's a mind control expert, and he says that coffee is used as part of the mind control whole thing, which I know people are going to be like, "What?" But
It makes
he
sense
has
though.
plenty of reasons he believes that. But he also, I believe it was Jason Vanessa, where he puts like a image of what coffee looks like at the molecular level, and it's all this like jagged, spiky, molecules. I know, right? Or I don't know if it's molecules or atoms or whatever. Anyways, the scientific picture of it at a very high magnification shows the structure and it looks scary. So he's going to share all about all of his beliefs about coffee with us. Stay tuned, you guys.
Ooh, that'll be interesting. I'm so curious about that. Yeah. Well, it's an addiction. Like coffee can be like an it's certainly an
Oh,
addiction
for
and
sure.
something that a lot of people are addicted to and they need to get up and get moving and get going. Like they can't get going. Like my mom's like that. She like when I was growing up all my life, like you do not talk to my mom before she drank her coffee. Like that was like the rule, right? Like just don't even talk to her because she was so grouchy. So, my mind, I used to drink coffee and then I stopped being able to handle acidic foods. So whether it was a pineapple or a glass of orange juice, when my bladder was really bad, I cut out coffee for that reason because anything acidic would make my bladder be on fire. So I haven't introduced coffee again, not because I don't want it. I mean, I've had it in small amounts, but I don't really have any need for it because I wake up with really good energy and my cup of coffee is just getting outside and going to the sunrise. Like that's my cup of coffee for me and it works. And then I feel like I can do anything for the day, basically. So kind of I can get through without a cup of coffee and I feel energized. So
Yeah, luckily I don't need that. I mean, I might be a little bit slower in the mornings nowadays, but it's like 5 or 10 minutes and then I'm fine. I've never
hmm.
been one to need coffee in the morning, and I've typically in the past, when the times I've been more like without the chronic fatigue and whatnot, right? I was like I was like "Brr," so high energy. But I also, it's kind of interesting because like for people who are social drinkers, like I'm a social coffee drinker. Like, oh, let's go for coffee because I'm with
Mhm.
somebody who's like obsessed with coffee. Then
Yeah,
I'm all of
yeah.
a sudden excited about it. But when there's just me, it's like meh, like I don't have that much interest in it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
So I would much rather do matcha, to be honest. It's so funny. Anyway, we could talk
Um,
about this for a while, I can see.
yeah, it's a good talking point. All right, how about this one, Heather? Everyone should wear sunscreen every time they go outside.
No, I would say absolutely disagree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you're that worried about the sun, first of all, we invite you to think about where you learned that. What are those fears actually based in? And you know, did you do your own research? Have you looked into the benefits of the sun? And so that you can get a more balanced opinion about what is actually happening with sun and whose quote unquote research are you going to believe regarding sun and cancer and all this. Like, this is a huge topic, Vanessa, but I would say that you have to know that you absolutely need sun exposure and you need to learn how to do it properly based on your skin type and your health condition and all these other factors. and that wearing sunscreen for the most part, unless you're getting the zinc oxide, which is just a physical, like natural mineral barrier, is toxic. I think the sunscreen that's the mainstream or hard conventional sunscreen, if you will, the chemical based one, is part of the problem with skin cancer and creates a whole host of other problems because your skin absorbs everything you put on it. And so, plus it stinks. Like, I just can't, like, how do people even tolerate this stuff? Stinks, with all
Oh,
these fake perfumes in it. So, you're just really doing yourself a disservice. And if you feel like that vulnerable or you're that worried about the so-called, I think people are doing this like scare campaign, basically, scare tactics about sun. If you're that worried about it, put on some clothes. Don't go outside that much. Stay out for a shorter period of time. Figure out other options, or you can
sit in the
also,
shade.
yeah, go in the shade. But if you want to be out swimming and so forth, just put that stuff that's used. They use zinc oxide, I believe, is the main thing. I don't know if there's other things they use, but I've
Yeah, I
used
think a
that.
non-nano zinc oxide
Yeah,
is the best
non-nano zinc
one.
oxide. Yeah,
Yeah.
non-nano zinc oxide. You use that, and yes, you're gonna look white, but who cares? Like, at least you're not gonna give yourself cancer from all the crap that's in the regular sunscreen. It's just I feel like sometimes I forget that I am not, taking part in some of these rituals that many
Yes.
people believe in, and not to say that I feel like they're wrong or I'm better. It's not about that. But when I
Mm.
see people spraying down them, well, especially because I live in a really hot, sunny climate right now, but they're just like spraying stuff all over themselves, or they're like slathering this like massive amounts on them. That's like, that can't be good for you.
No, 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 it's not good for you. Yeah, no, I think sunscreen is total crap and it's so bad for your skin to put on. And everything, remember, your skin, everything you put on, you are basically ingesting, you are eating it. Your skin and your gut, the brain, all these things are connected, right? So you really, if you can't eat it, you probably shouldn't put it on your skin. So definitely the toxicity in sunscreen is a huge concern, but then you're blocking the signal, you're blocking the light, you're blocking all of the beneficial things that you get from sunlight. And if you are pale and you struggle with the sun, you got to learn how to be a partner with the sun, how to adapt with the sun, right? How to use the sun smartly and wisely. And go get my Get Your Light Right webinar and you will learn. It's a masterclass. It teaches you how to use the sun, right? Just like simple. Um, because you will have better energy production if you're in the sun. Metabolism, hormones, energy production, immune system health, gut health, like everything in brain health, everything. Sunlight literally reduces all cause mortality. And if we're blocking that, this is when we get disease. And if you don't understand that, just think about how important vitamin D is, and you only make vitamin D from sunlight. Our biochemistry makes no mistakes. Like we did that on like it's that's how we're made. We're made to be in the sun and we evolved to be in the sun. And the only reason why you struggle with the sun is because you've been avoiding the sun. And that's true. I was in that place too. Like there's no shame there. I was in a place where I was avoiding, I did not look like this. Okay. I was like a ghost. You'd be like, what is wrong with you? Do you ever go outside? And I'd be like, no, not really, because I get hives and I get itchy, right? Because I
Well, you
wasn't
had a
being a
pretty low sun tolerance back then, huh?
Yes, 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 yes. Because I wasn't a partner with the sun. Okay. So you have to learn how to build that relationship with sunlight and not fear the sunlight because nothing in nature is meant to harm you. It has a purpose. Okay. So yes, that's my 2 cents on sunlight. It is vital. It is vital.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Yes.
Pasteurized milk is as good as raw milk.
Oh no, definitely not. That I would definitely disagree with on that one for sure. Unfortunately, the milk that you get that's pasteurized and homogenized is got chemicals in it, like bleach. These milks, the milk has come from CAFOs where the animals are not treated humanely, and they're all, oh, I've seen them before, Heather, when we're driving in like through rural America, and you see these cows that are just like sardines stuck together, and they're just not living. But I also see the beautiful cows that are out in the pasture and roaming and doing all the things, right? I'm like, yay. But like it breaks my heart because I mean, honestly, we are what we eat, not only in what chemicals they're adding, but also that how that animal was like basically tortured like its whole life. You know what I mean? Like that food quality is just not going to be good in any way. And then you're also taking out all the when you pasteurize it and homogenize it, you are, pasteurization in particular, you're removing all of the beneficial bacteria and you're removing all of those nutrients. That's why they put these nutrients back in. That's why they fortify it. Like you'll see milk that's fortified with like vitamin A and D because they've ruined it and then they're trying to fix it. Like, so it's not a health food, and raw milk is absolutely safe. I want you to know my family has been drinking raw milk since 2021, and not any of us have ever gotten sick from it. And it's a superfood. And anybody else who I get on raw milk, they're like, "Oh my God, where has this been all my life?" And the way that it tastes, and it's just so delicious and creamy, and I think raw dairy is a superfood. When I was really sick, I drank raw goat's milk every day, like a small amount, and I really think that helped me get into a better place. It's something, there's you might know, Heather, there's something in goat milk that's different than cow's milk that is better
I don't
digested, and
remember.
I can't
Yeah.
remember what it
Oh, it's
is.
maybe a different kind of protein.
Oh, it's the A2 protein. A2. It's always A2. That's what it is.
Mhm.
It's always A2, A2. So because back then Dutch metal wasn't fully A2, A2. It was like some cows were A1, A2, and now they're all A2, A2. I buy from Dutch Metals Farms if you're looking for a great place. They are amazing farm. I highly recommend. So, yeah, what do you think, Heather?
Concur, absolutely. The thing is that it's perfect. It's basically perfect, and some people argue that oh, humans shouldn't have, animal milk. It's only meant for the cows, but whatever. So
I just disagree with that too.
I know, right? It's a superfood, and so that's how I look at it. I would say the only qualification I might make, Vanessa, is that if you can only get grass-fed or super high quality vat pasteurized or maybe just regularly pasteurized, like on the West Coast, one of the real popular ones, oh my gosh, I just forgot the name, but I'll think of it. Strauss. Strauss is a pretty
Hmm.
decent dairy, so they do a really good
Yeah.
job, and a lot of it's pastured. So I would say that would be better than no milk, and if you can get it, it's more expensive, it's in glass, all the things, but it's better than not having any dairy. Now if you're super
Yeah.
sensitive to dairy, like Vanessa said, then you try the raw goat milk. That would be the best starting place. And then try raw A2 milk, so it's only that more digestible protein, and then see what, because a lot of people are find that they're able to tolerate it. And then
Hmm.
if you can't do dairy, that's okay. You can find those nutrients in other food sources. But again, milk is basically, a superfood, is how I see it.
Yeah, I've had Strouts before. I bought their food and they make a really good ice cream. I found that one time when I was traveling. It was really, really good, really clean. But yeah, if you struggle with dairy too, you can also try warming the milk. That also can help. And you can also try, if you haven't been eating dairy, you've lost the enzymes to actually can digest dairy. Like your body will stop making the enzyme for it. Your body's like, oh, I don't need to have enzymes to digest this. So just start with like some cheeses or some like sometimes cultured dairy can be good, raw cheese, cultured dairy. And if raw dairy is not available in all states, unfortunately it is. We have an episode on raw dairy, I think completely, Heather, that you guys can go back and listen to if you want to. But yeah, it's not legal in all states. It's not legal in New York. I can't go to my food store and get raw dairy. Like I have to, I literally, it's like I'm going to the drug dealer. Like literally the van pulls up from Dutch Meadows Farms. And it's like you're getting the goods, we're getting the we're getting the raw dairy because
That's hilarious.
you can't get it any other way. Like they're allowed to bring it in, but it says like for animal consumption.
Don't
So
even
yeah.
get me started on the politics. This stuff is so annoying.
Oh,
But
I
the thing
know.
is people, I'm just going to say it. This might sound unfriendly, but people have been brainwashed. They have been mind control again, going back to Jason. It's that there's been such a smear campaign. And in our, go back to our episode because we talk about the history and how this came to be. Is
Yeah.
there such a smear campaign? But honestly, and I don't really give a rip if people think this is, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. I do believe that it was targeted. There's actually history that shows that one of the members of the British Parliament is a Rothschild. He made a statement, and the only thing he ever said the whole whatever 30 years he was in the Parliament in the UK, that they had to go after the raw milk. So that was the basically like a lot of the impetus for that, and that it is so it's so nourishing that now all of a sudden it's a problem. Like I don't buy it. I just do not buy it at all. And you can many times, if you're having a hard time finding it, you will find people who are selling it for your pets. Wink, wink. So you can get the one for your pets and you can just join your pets. So that's how you can bypass these, not to say that no regulations are helpful. Of course, if we need the meat to be a certain quality, but sometimes I would say if it's at all possible, go directly to the source for everything. for all your food. Go directly to the source, to the people who are growing it, who are doing a good job, and that way you can be assured that you're going to get a quality product.
Yeah. We all need to have a cow in our backyard, maybe.
That would be amazing.
It would be. All right. Next one is everyone needs a parasite cleanse.
Woo, man, that's a controversial one. I'm
Yeah.
going to say that I disagree. And this is interesting, Vanessa, because I don't talk about this publicly a lot, but because for some reason, I don't know why I'm even embarrassed about it, but it's not a big deal. For some reason, and I think it's because I wasn't a very good caretaker for some bird. I mean, not that it was horrendous, but like I didn't clean their cages regularly enough. In high school, I had these lovebirds, and why I had them, I don't know. They were loud as hell. So it was a gift, I think, from someone. And so I think I must have gotten something from them because here's when I say that it would be necessary, okay? And I know that in terrain theory, the pleomorphism, and they're just a natural part of the cycle of, I forget what turns into what, but that the mold and the fungi turns into this, and then that turns into this, and then it turns into parasite, and then whatever. So apparently we have all kinds of parasites, and we're basically made up of bugs and germs, and our whole body is covered with this stuff, and internally and externally. So that being said, though, when I went to college, all of a sudden I was losing weight, and this was like, really not noticeable because I was always super
Mm,
thin. And then I was down to 95 pounds. And now my mom was even like freaking out, like, what's going on with you?
mm,
Because she didn't see me that often. So it was more noticeable, because I was
mm.
at college. But anyway, so, and then I couldn't eat. I was getting nauseous. Okay, now we have an active infection. It's not just the things doing their regular old job, right? It's a problem. So in that case, I'm going to say that it depends that, are you actually showing signs of a rampant infection? So
Hmm.
unfortunately, I had that. Unfortunately, yes, I had to take one dose of some, God knows what it was. So eventually I'm going to detox that homeopathically, but I don't know what it was. It was like, this is in 1988, mind you. It's a long ass time ago. So, or maybe it was in 87. I don't remember when. So, who knows what damage that did to me, but I can tell you this, I instantly felt better and I regained the weight that I had lost, like whatever the 5 or 10 pounds was, and I felt a million times better. So, you know what? It really does depend. If you, oh, also,
Mm.
um, there was a person I knew about who went to Africa, got Clostridium, and was almost died from that infection. So, I'm not going to say like, oh, no one should ever have a parasite cleanse. And when I say
Mm.
cleanse, I guess that might be not the same as medication for an infection.
Yeah.
Maybe I misconstrued the statement here, but
Mm.
regardless, it's like what's actually happening for you determines, is this an emergency thing? Is this something you think you should do a cleanse because you heard it online and it's just a good
Because it's the
idea?
full moon and
Exactly. It's just a good idea. Oh, I read The Cure for All Cancers by Hulda Regger Clark and I'm going to take clove and wormwood. Okay. But maybe you should also think about if that's really necessary.
I think the parasites are eating the cancer is why
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what's happening. Like when you find when doctors open up people and they find the parasites at the site of like MS or or the site of like cancer, it's because they're the cleanup crew. They're trying to clean things up. Now, in your case, the situation it sounded like okay, that might have been a situation where somebody needed to intervene and do something. But I think in general, not everybody should be doing parasite cleanses all the time because you can get worse,
Yep.
before you could make things worse because parasites have a job and a role in the body. And people get weirded out when you talk about parasites. They're like, you're like, yes, you have parasites in your body and you're full of bacteria and you're full of mold and you're full of fungi, and that's totally normal. Like it's just like we don't think about that. They're like, what? But that's what we're full of, and they have a job and they have a role. And one of parasites' roles is to eat heavy metals. So they're the cleanup crew. Like that's what their job is. And they eat deuterium. Everything in your body has a role and a job. It's like you're living in this like symbiotic relationship with the things and the microbes in your body. Um, but I think there are situations where if the person has like an infection that is like, and you're losing weight and your health is declining, like we might, there are times when we need to intervene, but I don't think it's something you should just be doing because you saw a reel like, oh, everybody should do a parasite cleanse, so I'm gonna just go do it. Like, I think we need to like have a little bit more discernment on that and know that it could, if your redox is really low, that it could cause more harm than you would like to happen. So. And there are ways that you can do it. Like there are other ways that you can support your body too. Like just getting your body stronger, you're gonna have less likely have that infection. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, Vanessa. If you don't believe in homeopathy, it is not going to work.
No, that's actually not. I would disagree. It will work anyway, whether you believe in it or not, because it's not about a belief. It's about the medicine that actually is. So, like plants don't have a belief, but it works on plants. Like animals don't have a belief, but it works on animals. Babies are not going to believe it. And I've seen it instantly remove colic or teething. Like I've seen it work on my nieces and nephews like this. Like, and I'm like, okay. I've seen it work on my dog like this, right? I gave him
That's also how
aconite,
you know it's not placebo. It's not
right?
placebo.
Oh no, it's not placebo. Like I gave my dog aconite because we had some severe thunder and storms and it was 4th of July. It was 4th of July. We were outside at my mother's house. We had just stopped to pick up the dog to bring him to my mother's house after being on the boat all day. And we get in the car and we get there and all of a sudden there's tons and tons and tons of fireworks going off all over. And I'm like, okay, here's Teddy. He's got his tail between his legs. He's freaking out. I'm like, all right,
Oh,
Mom, get your kit. Can I have some aconite, please? And I gave him some aconite and he was much more calm. But then all of a sudden out of nowhere. I mean, out of nowhere. And I told you this, my son is like kind of like psychic with these thunderstorms. I mean, like 60 to 80 mile per hour winds. The wind whipped up into my husband's eyes and he got sand in his eyes. We're like going to close the umbrellas, trying to get everybody in. We had to get in the car. The dog is still, and I gave another dose of aconite when I finally got back to my own house. And then the power went out. I mean, it was just crazy. Like it was just all these things. And then, like after all that chaos settled, he was so calm and he was still hearing the fireworks. And I'm like, ah. So there's an example of like you use the aconite for like that trauma piece, right? And all the noise and all that sounds and all the things that were making him feel traumatic. And he was not doing his normal like shaking, needing me under my feet or being scared. Like he was totally like happy and fine. So he doesn't have any belief of whether or not homeopathy works, and it
I
works.
just
So
make an aside. This is an aside comment. Okay, I don't want to
yeah.
derail, but this is so interesting though. Maybe my dog needs a remedy because aren't most dogs, they're like spooked by this horrible sound. Mine was literally in the back porch because he's watching for the cat, and there's all these fireworks going off right out there, and he's just like, no big deal.
Well, he doesn't have a constitution that's easily startled
Well, it
like
just seems
phosphorus
so weird
or
to me though, Vanessa.
aconite. Or, like,
Like,
it doesn't.
what's wrong with
Actually, I think you should be happy that
you?
it's
Okay, no,
good
I
because
know.
it can be
I
really
am.
annoying. Like when there are a thunderstorm or something and they get like that. And I've used phosphorus for that before. I've used aconite for it before with him, but yeah, it is different. It is kind of an odd kind of thing to your dog not to be upset by it. But yeah, I think that it's very, very obvious. You do not have to believe in it for it to work at all. It'll work whether you believe in it or not. It just has to be the right remedy for you in that situation. That's what it is. If you don't feel anything or if you're not having any change, it's because it's not the right remedy for you at this moment in time. And sometimes that can take a while to figure out. Like it's not an easy thing. Like we homeopaths do not have an easy job. Like there is thousands and thousands of remedies. Like you can be like, I got a headache. What should I take? I'm like, okay, well, I got to know like 10,000 more, not 10,000, but I got to ask you some questions because like it really does depend because it's so individualized. It's a resonance effect. It has to match. If it doesn't match the like cures like, it's not going to work. So it has nothing to do with belief and everything to do with if that frequency matches the frequency disruption in your body. That's what it has to do with. So, yeah.
Well, people are so confused because they think of allopathy, and that's just a chemical, mechanical way to block the body's own healing processes and what it's trying to do to help itself.
Right.
And that's that makes things worse unless you're in an emergency situation dying, but in ER stuff. So yeah, it's a frequency medicine that's very powerful, very sophisticated, very profound. It's been around for quite a while.
It's
And
like 250 something
it
years here, you
predates
know.
modern medicine.
Yeah. And
Modern.
actually the American Homeopath Society was together before the American Medical Society, right? Like it's just there's so much. We're gonna do an episode on the history of homeopathy, so just so you guys can like we definitely have to talk about that too, about how the VA formed a society before the Medical Association formed a society, right? And they didn't like that. And they thought that that made them powerful. And then they were like, that was another reason to bring us down, I think. So we rise back up. So anyway, ooh, this is a good one. All right. Healing should feel hard, Heather. Healing should feel hard.
Well, I have a protest. I feel like I'm getting all the hard questions. No, I'm kidding. Um, goodness sakes. I have to say that it's not that it should feel hard, but it might feel hard
Yeah.
because you're in a place of growth. Your body's trying to help itself, and sometimes you'll feel worse before you feel better.
Yeah.
And we have to keep that presence of mind, that awareness, that knowing that, there could be a fever, there could be diarrhea, there could be some discomfort, there could be pain, and that's the body doing its magic, if you will, to shift things, to rally the vital force to be able to accomplish these processes that it absolutely must do. Now, I think it's definitely not that it should feel hard, but it might feel hard when you're doing some kind of mental, emotional, spiritual work, because you can't have growth and change without some kind of crucible experience. There's going to be some intensity, there's going to be some discomfort. Seeing our shadow stuff come up, and we're like, oh my God, all these years I've been doing this or thinking this or whatever the case may be, that's unpleasant. And it's unpleasant because it matters. And it's unpleasant because that's how you shed your old skin of being able to face and then embrace and then eventually, move through to completion with that particular experience that you're having. And that's how you get new insight. That's how you have deeper expansion, or go deeper into your own self, becoming more of yourself, right? Reclaiming the essence of who you are and shedding the conditioning or whatever you're detoxing from. So I would qualify that, Vanessa, that it's not that it should feel hard, but oftentimes it might feel hard. I don't like the word should,
Hmm.
because it's like we don't want to effort to make things hard, because that's what I take away from the statement. So, yeah, what do you think?
I think this is a black and white. It is not a black and white question either. It's
That's
an
right.
area of gray because sometimes healing can be gentle and rapid. I've seen that very much, and then it's not hard, and it's just like a person can just feel better. Like wow, I just feel better. Like it's just been great. Like there hasn't a lot of hard things haven't come up, and it can go that way. But I'm the kind of person who I guess likes to suffer also before they have healing, or my body needs to purge things before they have healing. So typically, like I can give some examples. Like one of the best remedies I ever took was a sulfur 200C. I took 2 water doses. I had intense insomnia, which was a return of old symptoms, and depression that was worse for 3 weeks. And I was like, that was just just 2 water doses. That was it. And it was rough. And I was like, but then 3 weeks later, I was like, I have never felt like a whole veil lifted. Like I felt like myself again in such huge, huge, impactful ways. Like it really was a life-changing remedy for me in a lot of ways. And it's still a good remedy that I go to. And well, when I took a 1 m of carcinosin, that also the same thing happened. I mean, I had a month of just intense shame pouring out of me, but that helped me become more of my authentic self in huge, huge ways. And I don't know, like I think that those things are what needed to happen for me to get to point from point A to point B to be healthier, to be better. Um, but I've also seen it where that doesn't happen and people are just like, yeah, I'm just feeling better. Like I just all of a sudden I'm not anxious anymore. I'm just not, so it can be more gentle. And I don't know why it has to be harder for some than others. And that's the truth of it. I think the only way to describe it is, so I don't think there should be suffering. I don't think there needs to be suffering, but in some cases we might see these purging and these things happen before someone feels better. And that's just what it is. And that's just the body needing to express what it needed, what it's repressed. The body is expressing what it's repressed. And sometimes that has to happen. Or it has to like reshadow, like relive through these things, through that shadow expression of that again, and before the healing comes. So I don't think it's that it should be hard. I think that sometimes that's just what the body needs to get to the next phase in life. And it
Yeah,
can
it
suck
depends on
sometimes.
what it is that needs to happen, really.
Yeah.
So I'm going to meta process just for a minute here. It's a term borrowed from my therapy days as a therapist. So I want to look at what time it is, Vanessa. How long is this recording so far? And that we could be very well do a part two with this, because we have so many more great statements to evaluate. So
I
where are
think
we
we
at with
should do
time?
part two.
Where are we
Yeah.
at
So
with time
we're
right
we're
now?
at about 50, 40, 45 minutes, I would say.
See, my preference is to end now. I don't have as much stamina for as Vanessa does. She could go on for hours. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Do you
You're
think
so
that
cute,
would be
Ellen.
okay, my friend? Could we do a part two?
Yes, yes. I think we should end it since they're 20. How about we end it
Yeah,
on 10 and then we'll do the next 10 next time. How's that sound?
sounds awesome.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't know whose turn it is.
That's yours. So supplements can absolutely replace a healthy lifestyle, Vanessa.
Oh, that's definitely false. I would definitely disagree with that and say supplements absolutely cannot replace a health. And a lot of people want that, unfortunately, because we want, and this is not a judgment, it's just we want the easy way out. And we're like, oh man, if we could just like take this magic pill that's going to make everything better, and then, we don't have to do the hard, deeper work like we were just expressing, or we don't have to, do we could just have these things that just make everything go away. And truthfully, what we really need to be changing our life to really heal. We really need to change the habits and the routines and the thinking mind, the patterns in our mind, the beliefs in our mind, like all of that deeper work needs to be done too. Because if you're dealing with something chronic, it's not just about obviously physical, it's about mental, emotional, of course. So the supplement is if it does help you, if it's just a band-aid, it's not going to actually, elicit real healing. The real healing is the deep, true inner work. The real healing is the changing your life and creating the better habits for a better person, that intrinsic want to be better. Um, yeah, and just that deep work of letting go of the fear and the control and, the expressing gratitude, all of that I think is really, really, really valuable. So a supplement can never replace a healthy lifestyle or a healthy mindset at all in any way, shape, or form.
Totally agree. And just to be clear, homeopathy is not a supplement. These are things that
Yeah,
are the substance themselves, and homeopathy is only a frequency medicine. And
totally.
I think supplements that could be helpful are things like Body Bio PC and those sorts, or maybe whole food
Mm.
vitamin C power. Those cannot replace anything, though. They are just augments to your hopefully robust diet and
Yeah.
choices of food. So this statement I could not agree with at all.
Yeah. Yeah, like Body Bio PC, like whole food vitamin C, things like this. I think they're good supports, and they're good because we're up against a really toxic world, right? This is the truth of the matter. And it's not really a supplement to me, those things that come from whole food. It's just a little bit of extra nutrition to help a person's body combat an unfortunate, very toxic world that we live in. So I think of that different too, as a matter of fact, because if it's a whole food form, that's not the same as a supplement either. And it's like how many eggs can we eat in a day to get all the phosphatidylcholine we need? It's like almost impossible. So like that is why sometimes using things like that can be a good support. So I really hope that you found this fun, and we're going to have a part two. So you'll get to hear it again. Maybe we'll do it in a month or so, or a few months down the road, but it'll be really fun. And if, like Heather said at the beginning, this brought up something for you, right? It might have brought up some like angst or something like that, something to think about, something to look at, why is that coming up? Why is that? What is that bringing up for you? What is the deeper meaning behind that? Is the real question. And if you need support on your health journey, of course, I'm taking new clients, so you can certainly book in with me. I usually recommend a full homeopathic session. Of course, you can also do coaching work with me as well. That's available. So you can check out my website, brightlightwellnesscoach.com, and I'd be more than happy to support you and guide you. But remember, I am not your healer. You are your healer, and I am just guiding you on your journey and supporting you on your journey because you really know what you need.
Yes, absolutely. You can book it with me as well at enlightenedmood.com. That will redirect you to my booking page. And I support very deeply in all of the things as far as your physical needs, but also mental, emotional, and spiritual. So that is my niche. That's my specialty and forte because I don't think I'd call it coaching. I would just call it mentoring and guiding your into your soul and spiritual realm, which a lot of times healers are only doing one or the other. So my love is to be able to hold you in all regards and help
Mm.
you understand and see what are the emotional beliefs or what emotions are blocking your healing. That's what I specialize in.
Mm, I love it. I love it. Such good deep work. Well, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please remember to rate and review, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. And yeah, we'll chat with you guys on the next episode. Look for the part two.